Hey, how's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing really well. Let me get this all set up. Okay, so the camera on Periscope is way closer to your face than the one that's on your phone. So I always test it to see like if everything's set up and I'm like, oh hi, that's my face really big. Okay, so if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw that I'm gonna try to do 3 Periscopes this week. I wanted them to be very specific, not just, hey, come check out my cute coffee mug, although I've been known to do that. I wanted to talk today about some guest post tips and tricks because here's the thing. I've been blogging since 2009. I've written a lot of blog posts. I've written a lot of guest posts. I've gotten yeses, I've gotten nos. I've actually just recently read through 200 guest post submissions for my job, and so if you multiply that times 4 times a year, I read a lot of guest posts. And it's really fun. It's one of my favorite parts about writing is the fact that you can share your words on your own site or on sites that you love. Thank you for the hair compliment. Okay, do you see it's purple, but it's kind of fading already, so I'm gonna try to work on that. Totally off topic, and I love it. It's fun. This is why Periscope is bad for me. I'm like, let's just talk about all the things. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to chat about with guest posts is this idea that my amazing friend Denise Hughes came up with. She was explaining it like this. Like whenever you go into someone's home, one of the first things that they do is ask, should I take my shoes off? Right? Because whenever you're a guest at someone's home, you want to know what their house rules are so you can play by them. And so that's what her family does. They say, hey, should we take our shoes off? And some houses say yes, and some houses say no, keep them on. My house, listen, keep your shoes on because our floors are not clean. You don't want to be stepping on any of that barefoot. But some houses actually clean their floors. So it's just nice to be considerate of others. So when you're in their home, you learn their house rules, right? Same goes for guest posting. So whenever you go to a site that you would like to submit a guest post for, check out their submission policy page. Almost all sites will have them, and they will explain to you, this is how you submit a post to us, this is the form you fill out, this is the word requirement, this is the topic that we're looking for in our timeline and things like that. It's basically saying, hey, here's our house rules. We would love for you to come and be a guest. If you don't mind following some rules to keep it clean and make sure everything feels like it fits and is homey. So just one of the things that I think about with guest posts is just being a good guest at someone else's home. It's their home online. It's where they pour their heart out. It's where they've built a community. It's where they have, put all this time and energy into branding and creating a voice. And so you want to be respectful of that, right? So that is the first thing. The other thing I want to say is, when we go into a home because we have a toddler, usually our first question is, hey, where's your bathroom? Don't actually translate that into a direct analogy for someone's site. But figure out the blueprint, right? You want to know where things are. You want to know, all right, let's take a look around. If you're super familiar with the site and you subscribe to it, which is awesome, you'll already know what the voice is like. You'll already know what they write about. You'll know what happens over the dining room table, so to speak, in their home. So you'll know if your words and your heart and your story are a good fit. So if it's a new site, say you want to submit a piece, I don't know, to Relevant magazine online. Came into my head. You will go onto their site and see what they write about first, right? So you'll poke around and you'll see, oh, these are the topics, and oh, what happens over here in this corner? Just so you get a sense of whether or not your words belong there. Because just like everyone's home, you're not just gonna walk into random houses, right? And make yourself at home as a guest. It's people you know and trust, and you feel like you share some similar qualities. So things to think about whenever you're looking for guest post homes, I suppose you could say. The other one is write words first, though, that fit your style and your message, because ultimately you're not going to get a yes everywhere. So make sure that what you're submitting is the best you can present to somebody. Because if you get a yes, it is an amazing reflection on you. And then when people come over to your site off of the guest post, then they'll see that it matches, right? You're not trying to fit into some mold to be somebody you're not. You're not trying to write like somebody else. You're not trying to present yourself as something you're not. And it'll just feel really authentic and honest. And if you happen to get a no, because we've all gotten them, not every piece is accepted everywhere. There aren't enough days in the year to post everything that we wish we could. Then you'll have a great piece that you feel good about, that fits you, that you can post on your site. So it's a win. It's not wasted content at all. So there's that tip. Okay, so I also want to say, when it comes to the sites that you want to post at, if you can sign up to be an email subscriber and be part of the community before you submit something, it will really help you understand the heart behind the site. It's not hard to do. You can use then a tool like unroll.me to put all of those into one email that you get every day, so you don't feel totally overwhelmed if you just can't handle the thought of one more email in your inbox. But that gives you some time to really say, all right, this is what they write about, this is their feel and their tone, and you can then pray about whether or not your words are a good fit. It's also really nice whenever the person who is posting your guest post realizes that you're a subscriber and they feel like you cherish their community and you put value in it, because we know that there are tons of places people could subscribe to, and if you take the time to subscribe to my site or to Encourage or to any site that you want to guest post on, it just shows that you really are committed to being part of the community regardless of how it works out with your guest post. So that's it's just a nice house guest thing to do. The other thing, just when you're thinking about the post that you want to write, maybe they've given you some suggested themes or topics that they're looking for, and that's really, really good to pay attention to. But be a good storyteller, first of all, because whenever a site opens up guest post submissions, yours isn't going to be the only one they get. And so you want to send them the strongest, absolute strongest piece you can. So you need to know how to write a good story, because it doesn't matter what the theme is. If you can pull them in with a personal story, a funny story, a great anecdote, something that really hooks them, and then you can get to the meat of the story and the topic and the theme that they want you to talk about, and then end with a great reader takeaway, you are golden. So maybe storytelling isn't something that you feel super strong in, and I would just suggest finding some sites with women who are great storytellers, so that you can start to learn how to do that, and just practice on your own site. Practice telling stories as you write your blog post, because that's what readers are going to respond to. They're going to respond to your story. They're not going to necessarily be like, oh, well, they might be like, that is exactly the Bible verse I needed. That's exactly the inspiring quote I needed. But if you can share a story that is authentic and heartfelt and fits exactly with the theme, you're already well on your way to an amazing post. Whether or not it's used, then you can use it on your site. Okay, write something original. Here's the thing. Guest posts are hard to write because you're writing and you feel like you need to fit into somebody else's home. But don't send them something that you've used somewhere else before, because they can figure that out, especially if they're specific about sending original content. And don't send them a guest post for consideration that you've sent somewhere else as well. It just gets really messy. It's like double booking your visits to people's houses, where you're like, hey, yeah, I'd love to come over. And then you're like, oh, I'd love to come to your house too. So whichever one of you is having better food and responds to me faster is the one that I'm going to go to. And then I'm going to let somebody else down. So if you don't want super icky, awkward moments where you have to be like, can you, I don't know what to do. I got accepted at 2 places, but it's the same thing and I have to back out of one. Just avoid that completely. So submit an original piece to one place, wait for your response, and then send it somewhere else if it doesn't get accepted. Okay? Or just write another amazing original piece for a different place at the same time. Already talked about that. I have a list because I'll forget what I'm saying. Okay, so when you're telling your story, it's really easy to want to grab people right at the beginning, right? So it's hard to get that first line to really hook people, but avoid things that are generally shocking or disgusting or just not, maybe questionable, because you don't want to turn people off from your amazing storytelling abilities by kicking off your story with something that's just gross, or makes them go, I don't know if I want to keep reading this. So as you're thinking about the story that you want to tell, think about the fact that at the end of the day, what is the one thing that you want the reader to take away? And make sure that stands out strongest. If somebody would read it and be totally focused on this shocking, crazy situation that you shared at the beginning, that they don't even pay any attention to where God came into the story, or the hope that you had from it, or the encouragement that you offer at the end, maybe consider taking that part out, because you don't ever want any kind of shocking moment to take away from the glory of God. And so our stories are ours, and they're important, and they definitely need to be told in your voice and as honestly and authentic as possible. But as you're thinking about how you want to weave those moments into the story, just think about, okay, if I add this, will this be the one thing that they remember, or does it lead into the moment that I want them to take away? So just something to think about, because I've read a lot of guest posts lately. Let's see. Did that? Okay. Probably the hardest one, and the one that we're actually working on with our toddler right now. So it's kind of funny, but learning how to accept no gracefully. It's hard, because you really feel like you put a lot of time and a lot of energy into your guest post, and you send it somewhere and you wait for them to get back to you, and it's a no. It's going to happen. I get no's far more often than I get yeses. Number one, don't give up. Do not take that as a sign that you should stop writing. Do not take that as a sign that your words are not good enough. And do not take that as any kind of indication that your story is not important. All lies. Take that as a sign that your story just isn't a good fit in this season, and God just does not want you to share it at this moment on that platform. Okay? It doesn't mean never. It doesn't mean it can't be shared somewhere else. It doesn't mean God doesn't want you to share it on your own blog. It just means for right now, it's a no. So learning to accept no gracefully is going to help you so much, because when I get told no, my immediate reaction is to shut down. So I will stop following them, I will stop reading, I will stop engaging in the community, because I'm like, they don't want my words. I'm not going to bother to spend my time over there. That is just hurting me, because if I feel so strongly about a site that I want to share my heart and my story with them, I'm going to trust that they know what's best for their readers and what's best for their community and what's best for me. And sometimes what's best for me is not what I want. Sometimes what's best for me is to say, the world's not ready for that story because I'm not through it yet. Or, yeah, that wasn't really very well written now that I look at it again, and I rushed through because there was a deadline. And God's just saying, listen, refine it. Be a good reflection of me and the talents I've given you. Take time with it. Step back from it and think about something else and pray about something else that maybe He would have you share. So it's a hard lesson. Trust me, it is not going well with the 3-year-old. It does not go easily for me to accept no either. But I guess my encouragement would just be, if you feel like God is saying, yes, share your story as a guest post on another site, be brave. Write the story. Write the very best story you can. Write it in a way that makes Jesus shine, that makes you shine, that makes you feel good about what you're submitting, and then let it go. If they say yes, promote the heck out of that thing. And if they say no, say, all right, great. What's next, God? What do we got going on? So I hope that's encouraging. I hope that you would, I don't know, maybe pick up a couple tips or something there. So anyway, just quickly to recap that, I don't know, check out the site, be a good house guest, learn their rules, follow them, and just pray about it and write your story, because it's good. It is so good. And if you are feeling called to write, just go for it. Just do it. So, all right, that's it. I got to the bottom of my list now. I have nothing else to say, except I just keep watching my earrings swinging, and they're a little distracting, so go play with that. All right. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. If you have any questions about guest posting, feel free to put them in the chat. We can hang out for another minute here. Wednesday, I'm going to do another one of these, and then Friday, I said I was going to do a Periscope, and then forgot I'll be out of town. I'll be in Charlotte, and so I might do a Periscope, but it might be different than what I said. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get at least another one of these in. So hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday, probably around the same time. Around, what time is it? Like 10:30 Eastern, maybe noonish. So whoever's sending me all of those cute hearts, thank you. I love you too. All right, go enjoy your Mondays. Rock this week, y'all. You're gonna get it and get it done. So talk to you soon. Bye.